Pranalakshmi, and today it's going to be a short live. I'm out on a hike with Rocky, and you can see the weather here is actually quite gorgeous and spectacular. We had a lot of sun today and a mix of clouds and showers far away, and as you can see, the sea, it's so beautiful, and the variations and the gradations of color. And so something came up today. A question was posed to me by a colleague of mine, and she said, Donna, I'm trying as much as I can to take care of myself, to bring in self-care practices. And I'm finding it really difficult because I feel like when I do nothing, that was her wording, when I do nothing, I feel unaccomplished. And so my response was quite simple. And as you can see from the title of this Soul Service Sunday, it's the power of doing nothing. Now, we've been conditioned, especially in the West, to work as hard as we can to make money, to fit into a system. And what has that done for our soul? What has that done for our spirit? Sorry for the camera shaking. I've got Rocky with me, and he wants to explore. Now, I asked her to challenge her perception, to challenge her perspective. Are you actually doing nothing when you're resting, when you're doing self-care, when you're relaxing in the bathtub? Is that actually considered nothing? And what we've been conditioned in the West to think is that when we are pausing and stopping, that's considered doing nothing. It's not productive. We're not achieving anything. What is achievement? What is it that we're truly working towards? Now, on our hike, I found it quite appropriate. We passed by a little church, and it had a quote on the outside that I will try to post as a comment. I'll try to post the picture as a comment. And that said something that I think is completely appropriate for exactly where we're at right now in history. And it said, whoever has a heart, they will survive. Think about that for a moment. Whoever has a heart, they will survive. And I believe that to be completely true. So what do we do about that heart? How do we preserve it? How do we keep it intact? How do we nurture it? That heart needs rest. That heart needs to be nourished. That heart needs our service. Hence these Soul Service Sundays. That heart needs to not just beat and pulse. And I know now I'm speaking about the actual physical heart. That heart needs to be rested, nourished, tended to, cared for. And that goes for all parts of us. Our mind, our entire body, all parts of us. And so let's throw away this notion that if I pause, if I rest, if I go slow, that I'm doing nothing. Because I promise you, it's the exact opposite. And as I explained to this colleague, imagine your body as a battery pack. And that battery pack gets used every day, non-stop, all day. Even when you're sleeping, there's a reserve of battery being used. And so what can we do to recharge this battery so that when we need to use it at its full power, it will be completely charged, completely boosted, completely refilled? That battery needs charging. It needs to be docked at a station and charged. And the same thing with you, with your mind, your body, all of your senses. At some point in time, my practice is daily. I have daily practices and I have weekly practices. I also have monthly and quarterly practices. I'll go into a little bit more detail after this about what that means and what it looks like. And so this battery gets charged, and then when you need it, it's fully available. And so that's not considered nothing. That is the most powerful thing you can do, especially now, especially during these times when we are being not only tested, we are being pushed and pulled. We are being asked to be at our fullest capacity, which means we must program in rest, even if it's a short amount of time per day. So I'll share now with you my daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly practices. And it might not be exact, I'll just run through a few. So on a daily basis, I will take some time to just pause, meditate. And yes, I realize those are kind of two different things. My meditation practice has become a part of my daily life. For instance, I may be walking and go into a meditative state. I may be doing a task and then find myself slipping into a meditative state. So I'll honor that and I'll be there for a while. Daily is also physical self-care, including taking baths. It's something my body has needed for, well, ever since I was a baby. So that's part of my daily practice. If I don't get a bath in every day, it's every other day or a few times a week. And those baths include some kind of salt, whether it's Himalayan, there's Mesolongi salt, which is Mediterranean salt. There is Himalayan salts, there's Epsom salts. So a salt will be used to both nourish my body and also to release and take toxins out of my body. I will use essential oils in the bath. I will use special base oils like almond, coconut, jojoba, etc., to put on my body with the essential oils. So it becomes an aromatherapy experience, and it also becomes a healing experience for my skin and internal self. So those are some of the things I do. I may use castor oil, depending on whether or not my body needs it, etc. So those are daily things. Weekly will include a sauna or a hammam, which is a type of sauna. It's a wet sauna versus a dry sauna. I prefer dry, but if I can't find that, then I will go to a traditional wet sauna. And some quarterly practices include fasting and certain detoxes. Yes, daily and weekly will include certain essential oils like lemon in my water, lemon essential oil, as well as regular lemon squeezed into my water, and some other essential oils that help with metabolism. Example, peppermint, cinnamon. I'll use clove as a antimicrobial, and the list goes on. And quarterly, I mentioned days of fasting, certain scrubs that I will do on my body in order, again, to detox, elimination type diet, which is like fasting. And this also, it's not just the physical, so there's also mental. I will detox from social media. for days and or a week at a time, or I will limit which channels I use, and that is more of an internal listening. It's an intuitive listening that I have where I know when my energy doesn't need to or doesn't want to be spent on those channels or certain channels. And so all of these practices help to also hone in on that intuitive knowledge. Now, those practices all require slowing down, carving out time, not being disturbed by other people, typically being in solitude. The spa or the hammam obviously could be with other people. I will usually do it in solitude, or I will go on my own, even if there are other strangers there, so I can be in that meditative type state. Of course, socializing, I haven't talked about that, but that's another topic, and we did that in the social garden video, so please take a look at that. Because we do need socialization. We need fun, we need interaction. We also need time with animals. I've realized that having my pets, and I've always had a pet since a really tiny age, whether it was a bird, which I'm not a fan of having pets in cages, but God bless my parents. We had some birds. We even had a rabbit at one point. And now I have a rescued dog and cat, and they're my angels. I'm choking up just thinking about them. They are truly angels in a living form. So I hope you spend time with pets, because that is another really powerful healing thing that you can do when, again, it could be considered doing nothing, just sitting there petting a dog. But think about all of the therapeutic components. Your heart rate will not only lessen and lower, it will balance. Your blood pressure will regulate. So all of these mechanisms, they start to regulate when you spend time with animals, and especially in their calming nature. So let's take a few moments before we close to reflect. And I would like you to sit now, close your eyes, and reflect on what it is that your heart needs. Remember, those who have a heart will survive. So what does my heart need? What does my mind need? What does my body need? What does my spirit and soul need? So that when I carve out that time to be with myself, by myself, honoring myself, that my conditioned mind doesn't think that I'm doing nothing. And instead, I can see the power in me taking time to be with myself. Think of those words. I am being with myself. The simple act of being is one of the most powerful things, the most powerful thing you can do, because by being, you are activating your intuitive self, you are activating and communicating with the divine, taking in so much wisdom and information just from the environment around you. And I'll remove the word just, taking in so much wisdom and inspiration from the environment around you. Close your eyes, please. Sit up tall, or if you prefer to lie down, that's fine too. And with your eyes closed, place hands on your belly and take a few deep breaths. And by taking those deep breaths, notice that your heart rate now begins to regulate. Enjoy the sound of the birds. Enjoy the sound of the breeze. And far in the distance, the sound of the sea. Enjoy the rustling of the leaves, the sound of your breath. And at this time where you are being and sitting with yourself, acknowledging your breath, ask, what else do I need? What do I need to feel complete? What does my self need in order to recharge? What do I need in order to feel complete? Notice the answers that come to you. And ask yourself now, what can I do for myself on a daily basis to recharge my batteries? What can I do for myself on a weekly basis to nourish my soul? What can I do for myself on a monthly basis to access higher wisdom, intuition, divine knowledge? What can I do for myself on a quarterly basis in order to preserve my heart so that I am one of those that has a heart that will survive? What can I do? As you receive these answers, feel free to journal after this practice. Take some time to stay here now with your breath, with your hands moving up now to your heart space. When you're ready to come out of this practice, I'd like you to take a deep breath in and hold. Squeeze your hands, squeeze your feet, squeeze your thighs. And then exhale, release, and relax the whole body. And then take another breath in, stretch your arms up overhead, and really stretch through the fingers and toes. And then when you feel complete, bring a beautiful smile to your face, roll to your side. If you're lying down, if you're sitting, come to seated. And feel free to journal these answers so that they stay fresh. Write them on a piece of paper that you can stick up somewhere on a wall, a fridge, or bathroom mirror so that you can see every day to start to instill these practices into your daily routine. And then I'd love to hear from you, either in the comments or in an email, hello@pranalakshmi.com. Let me know how you feel once you've begun using these practices to recharge your personal batteries. Remember, doing nothing is one of the most powerful things you can do. Don't let them fool you that you're doing nothing. What you're doing is accessing the most divine, powerful knowledge from the universe. From Rocky and myself, we wish you a beautiful rest of your day. See you on the next Soul Service Sunday.